So welcome, beautiful people. How we all doing today? For those of you returning for another one of my videos, I want to say again, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And for those of you who are new to my channel, I want to say welcome. This is Skelly by Nature. I am Skelly. And today I'd like to talk about a topic that a lot of us tend to seem to skip when we're looking for a new dog, or a dog that is proper for our family or ourselves. So I'm going to go through some of the steps that should be taken before you take on the responsibility of a dog. A lot of people tend to, like I said, skip over this, and then what ends up happening is finding out that after we've picked a dog or after we've chosen a breed, that it's the wrong breed for us, and then they end up in a shelter. So I'm going to go through the steps that I like to go through so that you can have yourself the proper match for you and your family. Okay? So the first thing that we're going to talk about is choosing the proper breed or dog. And whenever we are thinking about doing or taking on this responsibility of another animal, keep in mind this is a long-term thing. You know, most dogs, they have lifespans anywhere from 8 years to as long as I had a dog for 19 years. So, you know, keep that in mind, that this isn't a thing that you pick up a dog and you can easily return it. This should be a thing that the whole family agrees upon. So let's keep that in mind, okay? So the first thing that I'm going to say is do your research, okay? Like anything else, we go buy a car, we research it. We go buy a house, we research it. So same thing with a dog. I mean, why not? You're going to have your dog longer than you're probably going to have your car, your house. You know, hopefully you have it longer than your dog, but either way. So do your research. Same thing. Don't go to the shelter and just pick a dog because it's cute, okay? Because that cute little dog or that cute dog you see in the shelter may not be the proper breed or the proper dog for you and your family and your lifestyle. With that being said, the other thing I'm going to say is take your time choosing a breed or a dog. Think it through. Once, even after you've decided you've seen something that you like, again, give it time. Don't be, this is not don't be an impulsive buyer per se. Think about it, okay? This is a lot of work. Each dog is at different types of levels of work. So those are things that we'll talk about. The other thing is too is keep in mind, is this a full family decision? Is everyone involved in around the house and in the family? Are they all going to be up for the tasks that are needed to take care of the dog? Because if not, you can cause some problems. I've done a lot of training with people where, you know, a husband calls me or a wife calls me and says, everyone does this, but my husband doesn't wanna. Well, that husband can actually cause issues with the dog, because if you're trying to be, say, training your dog, if the whole family isn't consistent on the training, you can confuse the dog, which eventually becomes an issue, and then the issue becomes the dog ends up at a shelter. So keep that in mind, that everybody needs to be up and ready for this, okay? The other thing too is think about picking a breed that matches your family's activity level, okay, or the type of family you have. So if you're an active type family, then you may say want to go with something like a lab or a shepherd. But if you're not an active family and your family that's more of couch potatoes and like to hang around, then you may want to think of a certain types of breeds that are meant more for that. So say something like a pug, something that will lounge around all day, doesn't take a lot of exercise. Okay, so let's get right into things to consider. Okay, so the first thing that you want to consider is the size. Okay, so size is very important when it comes to dogs. They come in all different sizes, anywhere from 2 to 3 pounds all the way up to 200 pounds. And so there's many different breeds and there's many various types of dogs. So size of your environment, um, the size of your dog is very important. So keep that in mind. The size. Um, the second thing to consider is the breed. If you're thinking of, say, a purebred to, say, over a mixed breed, there is variations. There's positives and negatives that come with both a purebred and a mixed breed. So think about that, and when you are, say, zoning in on a breed, think of the traits that this breed comes with, okay? And does it, again, match your family, okay? So another thing is, like I was saying, activity level. You want to match the level of that your family has. So like I said, if you're an active family, having a dog that's an active dog can suit you very well. If you like to go for jogs and you want a dog to jog with you, a pug isn't going to be a good choice. You're going to want to go with something like a greyhound or a lab or something that can take the jog with you. So keep that in mind. Another thing to consider is the physical maintenance of each dog, each breed. They all have different levels of physical maintenance. What I mean by that is trimming their nails. Some dogs need to be brushed on a daily. Some dogs you can brush a couple times a year. You have levels of different types. Different dogs shed at different levels. Some dogs don't shed. Some dogs are hypoallergenic. Some dogs will carry allergies. So keep that in mind. As if somebody in your family has allergies, you may want to stay away from a dog that's a very hairy dog. Say something like a husky or a shepherd, because when they go outside, they pick up that dander that's outside that you're allergic to. They then bring it indoors. You snuggle up against them, and then next thing you know, you are suffering from allergies. So keep that in mind as well. And the other thing too to think about that a lot of people don't consider is age. Okay. Obviously, we all can fall in love with the puppy. They're adorable, they're cute, they're loving, they're just fun. But a puppy takes a lot of work. You got to get up, every hour, every 2 hours at night, bring them outside. So be prepared. It's like having a baby. A lot more work with a puppy than, say, if you were a person who wants to, say, choose an older dog. They have less attentive needs. So with that being said, we have many breeds, and with many breeds, these come with different sizes. So we have small dogs like Chihuahuas. We have big dogs, like your Staffordshires and your Great Danes and dogs like that. They have all different breeds, and breeds come in different sizes. And some breeds have all sizes. So keep that in mind. So if you say like a poodle, they have standard poodles, they have mini poodles, and they have toy poodles. And those can range anywhere from 60 pounds all the way down to just a couple pounds. So keep that in mind, the breed and the size of the dog that you're looking for. Think about the space you have. So say you live in an apartment, but you've always been a big lover of Siberian Huskies. But you live in an apartment, you might live in the city, you don't have the proper environment for a Siberian Husky. Well, you can look in and find that there's another dog called an American Klee-Klai, which looks just like a Siberian Husky, but they come in different sizes. They come in a medium size, and they come in a very small size that might be better suited for you if you, say, live in an apartment. So again, this is all doing your research, and finding that there's many breeds out there that you probably have never seen or heard of, that might better suit you compared to, say, the dog that you've always wanted to have. So let's get into talking about different sizes. We have small breeds. So the thing about small breeds that you need to take in consideration is most small breeds are very delicate dogs. They can easily be stepped on. They can be not proper, say, if you have young kids, if you have a 3, 4, 5 year old that, isn't quite old enough to handle themselves properly or behave in a proper manner around a small dog. You may want to take that in consideration. So small dogs again are not good in cold weather for the most part. Most small dogs have very little hair. So keep that in mind. If you do have a small dog and you say live up here in New England and it's cold, there's going to be other things you're going to need, say sweaters and jackets and things to keep your dog warm and booties and things like that. So keep that in mind that a lot of small breeds are not good in the cold weather. And the other thing too with small breeds that a lot of us know is when people hear that I'm an animal behaviorist and I deal with aggression and fearful and dominance behaviors, a lot of people think I deal with big dogs. A lot of my work is actually with little dogs. And part of it is because we've all heard of little man attitude or little man syndrome. That is very common because a lot of us don't think about, say a mini pinscher. Yes, they're small. Yes, they're cute. But keep in mind, what is the job of a mini pinscher? They are hunters, so they can be aggressive little dogs. So if they're not properly trained, they can cause problems, which ends up, again, causing problems in the house, and then they end up in shelters. So we don't want this, this is what this video is about, is really trying to make it so that you pick the proper dog so that you can have a long time with a breed that matches you properly. And the more we do this, the less dogs hopefully you end up in a shelter. So we have medium-sized breeds, which again are a nice dog. They're not large dogs. They're not a small dog, so they have kind of a little mix of different sizes. The one thing with medium breeds is they tend to be a higher energy type of dog. A lot of medium-sized dogs are either working type dogs. They're kind of dogs that need a job to do something, or they get bored. So they usually take a little more attention. A lot of the medium breeds are usually very smart dogs and are in need of training. If you don't train them, they will train you. A lot of times I get people that call me and ask me and say, oh, my dog this or my dog that. I go do an evaluation. I say, your dog has you trained. And that's because they lack training, that the dog trains the people. So medium-sized breeds can be very smart dogs. They also can be dogs that, if not exercised or trained properly, can lead to many problem behaviors. Again, due to their over-intelligence, their high energy levels, that they tend to get bored. So if you're not an active person, a medium-sized dog with high energy may not be your choice. And then the other thing too is they also may need to be groomed a little more than, say, a smaller dog. Small dogs take less time to groom. Medium-sized dogs tend to be kind of a little more hair, so they might need to be brushed more. And so keep that in mind. Another nice thing about medium-sized breeds is they can also be good around small kids. Medium-sized breeds tend to tolerate being pestered a little more than, say, a small breed or a large breed. They're usually, a lot of them are herders or working type dogs, so they are very cautious of the animals or kids around our environment, and they usually tend to be very cautious and are good with small children. So keep that in mind as well. So the next thing too is we have large breeds. Large breeds can be good in many ways. They can be bad in many ways. Like I said, every breed size has pros and cons. So again, do your research. But large breeds, obviously, some of them tend to need more space. Whether it's you got to have a nice backyard to let them run around in, or the ability for you to go to the park and let them run around. Whereas a small dog, if you can live in the city and have a small little patio and let a small dog run around the patio, and that's all they really need, where a larger breed is going to need more space to get out and run. The other thing with large breeds is they tend to have they're prone to have hip and bone issues. Every breed, every dog size, they all have different types of ailments. So again, keep that in mind to pay attention to. If you're going to pick a breed, what types of ailments kind of follow with that breed. Thing with larger dogs as well, your grooming could be a lot different. Some big dogs need a lot of grooming. Some big dogs need a lot of wiping their mouths with towels because they're droolers. So again, this is this is the importance of again doing your research. The other thing to keep in mind that a lot of people don't think about, is large breeds can be extremely strong. I think as humans, we kind of underestimate the strength of dogs. But to give you an idea, a standard Staffordshire pit bull that weighs 80 pounds, you might look and say, well, I'm 150 pounds, I'm 160 pounds, I can handle an 80-pound dog. Keep this in mind. An 80-pound pit bull has the capability of towing and pulling thousands of pounds. So if you think your 150 pounds is going to hold back an 80-pound pit bull that really truly wants to get to something, you're not going to hold it back. So keep that in mind, that larger breeds do tend to be strong. And keep that in mind. If you're not strong, and you feel that you're going to be outpowered, you got to keep that in mind, because that can be a dominance thing too. And because they're extremely strong, and they definitely need to be trained. All dogs need to be trained, I believe. But the large breeds, you tend to want to really be on the training. If you let them jump on people when they're a puppy, they're going to jump on people when they're an adult. So keep that in mind, that you can sometimes get away with a 3-pound Chihuahua who jumps on people when they're a puppy, but you're not going to want that. Say if it's a Great Dane, that's going to eventually grow to be a standing of 6 feet tall and will easily knock over your grandmother. So keep those things in mind. So now let's get into the difference between, say, getting a purebred to a mixed breed. A lot of times people kind of are up in the air. We want that pure breed, but keep in mind they're harder to find and they're harder to get. If you want a purebred, you're going to have to find yourself a breeder, most likely. You don't know what you're getting if you go to a shelter. They can say it's a purebred. They don't know for sure. So if you're looking for a purebred, find yourself a good breeder. Talk to people who have purebreds, who have AKC registered dogs of that breed. Find out who they got it from. Again, this is doing your research beforehand, but find a decent breeder that has good traits, that has good dogs, and you can go on from there. The other thing with dealing with breeders is obviously they're breeding these dogs. Many breeders are not breeding the dogs for money. They breed them because they like to continue on with this breed. They want to carry on the characteristics. They want to keep them pure. There's many different reasons, but in the long run, it does cost these people a good amount of money to breed dogs. And so when you look into buying one, don't be surprised if you're looking at thousands or a couple, very common to see a purebred for, you know, $1,500 to all the way up to $7, 8, $9,000, depending on, you know, the how elite the bloodline is, or how, you know, what type of bloodline it is, or what type of dog it is. So keep that in mind, that they can cost more. The other thing with purebreds is they have known traits. This is you know, this can be beneficial and not so beneficial. Partly because, one, we know what the traits, or what the illnesses might be that's common for this breed, or we might know the traits that are common for this breed, and so we can work with it. If you know you're going to have a dog that is going to be high energy level, then you know you're going to need to be prepared for that. If you know that you're getting a purebred shepherd, know that hip dysplasia is a common problem with them, and it's something that you're going to need to prepare for. So you know, in earlier stages, you may want to say use glucosamine, or, you know, for the first few years of the dog's life, to help build that muscle and hip and bone structure as they grow, and to help alleviate the possibility of hip dysplasia later on in their life. So that's you know, what you want to pay attention to when it comes to purebreds. The other thing you want to pay attention to is with purebreds is you know, registering them. You get, you know, there's a lot of breeders want to make sure that they're registered. A lot of breeders will put in the signing of the contract that they must be trained, they must be this, they must be that. You know, you may not be able to breed them. You may be able to breed them. So there's sometimes a lot of little read between the lines kind of deals when signing a contract for a purebred. So keep that in mind as well. So let's get into mixed breeds. Mixed breeds are you know, what a lot of us have. It's, if you go to a shelter, you're most liable to find a mixed breed. We have a lot of people, you know, nowadays mixed breeds are becoming popular. You know, we call them the Hollywood fashion dogs. You know, things like Puggles, your Labradoodles. To me, these dogs are still mixed breeds. They're not a registered AKC breed yet, because they're still fresh and new. But these dogs, you know, they're taking one dog and another dog, you know, one breed and another breed, putting them together and creating some really nice mixes. Labradoodle, for example, you have the intelligence of a poodle, but you know, the playfulness and the excitement and family loving type dog as a Labrador. So you know, that mixed together makes for a really nice dog. You know, so that's, you know, something to think about, you know, with mixed breeds. The other thing with mixed breeds is they're a lot easier to find. We tend to, you know, like I said, go to a shelter, there are going to be a lot of mixed breeds there. And so with mixed breeds, you also get a more balanced traits. So like I was explaining with the Labradoodles, you know, the smart intelligence and the ability to train is the traits coming from the poodle. And then how, you know, just how good-natured a Labradoodle is, you know, that good nature comes from the Labrador part of them. So we know the balance, they tend to kind of balance out. And the other thing with mixed breeds too, as well, is they tend to suffer from less health issues because they're not quite a purebred. Sometimes they kind of bypass that, you know, that known trait that comes with the breed. So those are things to think about. So these are the points, different points that I like to point out to people when coming to choose your breeds. Really think about this, go through these steps. It's very important. It will make your life a lot easier, make your dog's life a lot easier, and hopefully this video helps people choose the proper breed If you guys do have any questions or anything else like that, feel free, drop me a comment down below. I'll answer any questions that I can and help direct you into the proper breed. Or if you even want to set up a consultation with me, I do Zoom meetings, I do video conferences. We can walk through this and talk about this, because to me this is the most important part of choosing your dog, is making sure you choose the right dog. So I hope this video was informative for all of you. I hope more people use this. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Share this video with people. Share it on your on your different feeds. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. There's going to be more training videos, more other videos coming along. There's more videos involved in my playlist down below. Feel free to check some of those out. And again, I hope you enjoyed this video. And until the next time, be beautiful, be awesome.